Hey guys, it's me again. Welcome back. And today we're going to have a brief discussion about my problem with subscription boxes and why I'm not doing them as much as I used to. So let's walk around the zoo. You can see I'm at Riverbank Zoo and we'll talk about it. All right, so I know. There we go. All right. So I first learned about subscription boxes through, believe it or not, YouTube. The first ones that I would see were Loot Crates. I learned that before Loot Crate was around and became so big, there was a subscription box called Pirate Security, which took basically dollar store items, just threw them in a box and sent them off to people. That didn't sound interesting at all. It sounded kind of like a ripoff. I don't know how long they lasted. Once when Loot Crate came on, Loot Crate basically set the bar for how the subscription box business should be. And if you don't know, a box will come to you monthly and it'll be like 5 to 8 items. And they're basically all surprise, but it's going to be themed. Holy cow, there are so many of you right here. So my wife got me a loot box subscription. It was pretty cool. And there was some stuff in it. It's definitely a higher end one, but the problem with Loot Crate was always if you weren't a big YouTuber, you weren't going to get the views. Now other boxes came along like Nerd Block, Comic Con Box, One Up Box, and I don't know why the bird is pecking the back of my neck right now. All right, so we'll talk about Comic Con Box in a minute. Right now, let's just enjoy feeding the birds. I guess he didn't like that. Really can't see it, but Anna is back there and looks like she's actually eating. Love the Komodo dragons. All right, so Comic-Con Box, as I said, it was a subscription service run by a subsidiary of Wizard World. They might have subcontracted it out to one of the other subscription companies or subscription box organizers. But I first learned about them when I was in Kuwait. It was a deployment for the Army, and immediately signed up just based off the name alone, because I love the Wizard World conventions. I love their magazine when they had it running, and all their offshoot magazines as well. So I'm like, all right, it's a brand I can trust. Let's go with it. Got their first box in Kuwait. Absolutely loved it. It was a hodgepodge of stuff, but it was stuff that I could have used out. It was very entertaining stuff I used out there. I still remember playing with a giant T-Rex claw grabber. It was a T-Rex. He opened his mouth and he just grabbed things. So I guess it was a mouse grabber. But we kept that box going for not quite 2 years. I quit after box 20 because somehow I was going on a monthly service and then I hit the 6-month subscription service. And it was around box 18 where I noticed that things were getting funny. It was showing up a little late, or there was a dip in quality. And I'm like, okay, let's be careful here. Let's see what's going on. And it was so hard to find news on what was going on with the Comic-Con box, because when you type in Comic-Con box, all sorts of other boxes would show up in the news. But it did some digging, and it looked like one of the, I don't want to say one of the board of directors, but one of the guys who were the higher up management guys was like taking gifts off on the side and was pretty much, I guess he was skimming off the top is the best way to say it. So if there was like a bunch of autographs that were coming in from some star, he was taking a cut from that, and he was taking the autographs and other memorabilia as well. And that was really hurting the Comic-Con box, their bottom line when it came to business. And it's good that I stopped at box 20, because after that it really went downhill and they were struggling to get stuff out. I think their final 2 boxes that they did were basically stuff that they grabbed from, like, I don't want to say Target, but pretty much off the shelf that you could get at any store. And a lot of people, well, the people who were still with Comic-Con Box were not happy. They were really angry at that point. And it was just so hard to find information about what was going on afterwards. They used to have a really good social media presence as well. One of the last contests they ran on Facebook and on Twitter was to get an autographed comic book and to get an autographed picture. no idea what happened to that because they never announced who the winner was. They stopped updating their website around box 16, I guess. I have to go back and look. But it was those little things right there, that's what made me stop. And that was, to me, one of the bigger comic subscription boxes. We used to get Nerd Block, and that was a big one. That was a good one too. It was a company out of Canada, and after a while, what they would do is they take their shipments or take their boxes across the border to New York and ship them out to us in the States. Made shipping costs easier for them. But they went bankrupt last year, and it just so happened that the very last box on a subscription service for my daughter was the very last box that they were sending out before they went bankrupt, or as they were going bankrupt. And you can actually read in the news, or in news articles, like how much they owed to like Funko and to certain entertainment stars and all that. You can just go look for that because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But there were some weird amounts in there. There was a really weird amount for McFarlane toys. So yeah, check that one out. But Nerd Block is starting back up, so hopefully they're getting it all together. A brief mention about One Up Box. It's one I've never gotten. I've watched other people's unboxing videos from them. They seemed pretty good, but they stopped recently as well. I haven't read to see if they just quit or if they went bankrupt, but they're not doing it anymore. So that's kind of disappointing, because to me, subscription box or competition in general is good to make sure everybody's level of merchandise is good. We don't get all the crappy stuff that we saw like in Pirates Booty. If you can find a video on Pirates Booty, go ahead, check it out. Don't know if you can see him, but Dutch is hiding behind the metal fence back there, the chain link fence. He can get out. He's just being stubborn right now. So one box I really loved, besides Comic-Con box, was the Geek Fuel Box. They were originally a Kickstarter campaign that was successful, but I didn't learn about them until they teamed up with Vsauce for one of the holiday boxes. And Vsauce, if you didn't know, runs 3 channels on YouTube. You should definitely check them out because they have some good stuff. But we were impressed with what we got from the Geek Fuel Vsauce box that I signed up for a 6-month subscription, and we kept going with it for, I want to say 2 years, it might be 18 months. And every box they had was, I'll say it was phenomenal. They always had a theme going on, but it wasn't as strict as like Loot Crate or as Comic-Con box, but it still made everything fun. And one of the things I loved about Geek Fuel was that it came with a Steam code, or a Steam game that you can play on PC. Like every box came with at least one. And then they had off-the-wall swag, for lack of a better word, to go with it as well. Like one month we had a Game of Thrones egg candle holder. We had Legend of Zelda inspired soap. It was 3 rupees, 3. And we never took them out of the box because the box itself was pretty cool to look at as well. And we just keep that on display. But the only reason I didn't renew my subscription with Geek Fuel was because we were getting ready to move to a new house, and I didn't want the box lost during the transition. And it just so happened that right after our cancellation, we get emails from Geek Fuel that they're going to stop their monthly subscription and they're going to go to a quarterly subscription. Now, the quarterly subscription is about the same price as like 3 boxes put together, but it's supposed to have more expensive items in it. Not sure how I feel about that because I like getting a box monthly. I don't want to get a box quarterly. And we'll get into another subscription service that does something like that in a minute, or at another location, I should say. It's home to get a refill of soda, and they're not open yet. So behind me should be the sea lions and the seal, and we'll see if they pop up in the video behind me. I saw that. I see some others. So the other box I should talk about is actually a series of boxes, and that's run by Funko. And Funko had several contracts for a bunch of licensed merchandise as well. A bunch of licensed boxes, I should say. So Funko ran a subscription service for DC Comics. I think it was the League of Collectors, or Legion of Collectors. They had a Star Wars license, the Smuggler's Bounty. They had a Disney license, the Disney Treasures, and they had a Marvel license, which for the life of me, I cannot remember what it is right now. And we had purchased boxes from all 4 series, and I went with the Disney Treasures box. I did the year-long subscription with them. And with Funko, what they did was they released a box every 2 months. So if you had 2 subscriptions going, you got a box every month, depending on which subscription service or which 2 boxes themes you went with. But if you got, let's say, Marvel and Disney at the same time, you would get 2 boxes 1 month, skip a month, and then get 2 boxes again. I'm not a big fan of that. I would prefer to get a box every month. But with the Funko boxes, it basically came out to like $30 a box, and you got Funko exclusives all the way through, from a T-shirt to obviously a Funko Pop. But then they would toss in other things like the rock candy or the little mini Funko things. And all anybody was really interested in, apparently, was the exclusive Funko Pops. They had some really cool rock candy figures in there, and I liked a lot of their T-shirts and the other merchandise they had in there. When it came to Disney Treasures, they had actually all of them had a pin, and all I can remember for Disney Treasures was the sew-on patches as well, and they would all form a circle. When it came to almost a year mark of our subscription for the Disney Treasures, they sent us an email and said that they're not going to continue doing the yearly subscription, so there was really no incentive to do it. When we signed up for the first year of it, it included a gift or an additional box, and I just got that a couple, I'll say last week, 2 weeks ago. I got it actually later than everybody else on YouTube if you look. It's kind of funny. But it was a Steamboat Willie, and it was a Disney Treasures exclusive. That thing is phenomenal, and it's heavy. A statue about that big and weighs like 1.3 pounds. I was pretty impressed with that one. But again, Funko is stopping all their subscription services, and they're going to team up with basically Hot Topic. Now, I've seen Funko themed boxes in Hot Topic. They have a thing going on with GameStop too, and personally, I think the quality in the GameStop boxes is like lower than what we were getting in the subscription boxes. So I'm a little worried about what they'll do with the Hot Topic boxes. Now, this all covers the pop culture, the geek stuff, and the nerd culture. But there's other boxes out there as well, and we'll talk about those in a second. Okay, so Senzu's in this position because he thinks the keepers are going to throw more stuff at him. Don't know if you can hear it, but the red-tailed lemurs are howling over there. Oh, then they stopped. There's no reason for them to do that. Those guys back there, yelling.
Bela, did you see the elephant?
So Robin back here is going to help us introduce the non-nerd, geek, and pop culture subscription boxes. And the first one I'll talk about is the Alpha Outpost. She really loves her red mud. So Alpha Outpost, if you watch other YouTube's subscription unboxers, they were pretty pissed with how Alpha Outpost was going. I will say right now that I think they've turned their stuff around, but it looked like they were getting some really, well, I can't say really cheaply made, but they were trying to cut corners to make a profit. And I totally get that. It was a startup company. And if you didn't know, Alpha Outpost was basically like an outdoor subscription box. I don't see my vultures back there. I'm really sad. I love these guys. Especially the one who hangs out on that skull. But anyways, Alpha Outpost catered to the outdoorsy people. And I'll tell you right now, those unboxers were brutal to them because they know their stuff. When you send an outdoor hunter a box that has a knife and a backpack in it, they're gonna know the quality of the knife and the backpack. And these guys were like, this is a cheaply made Chinese knockoff. This knife, I wouldn't even cut my fish with it. And I'm like, ooh, wow, fish is pretty easy to cut, but okay. And I'll say it's within the last 6 months, since it's June right now, that they've been able to change their stuff around, and they have gotten higher quality things. But because of all that negativity, I never subscribed to an Alpha Outpost box. I think the taper is in the water right now, so let's see if we can get that. Oh, she's gonna come up. So Alpha Outpost actually has two types of boxes, I believe. They have a monthly box, like a regular one, and then they have a higher end one. And I've heard mixed things about the higher end one, but based off of how bad the lower box or the regular tier box was, I'm still leery of like getting anything like that. Now on the other hand, there's the Cairn box, which caters again to outdoors people, but not for hunting. It's or survival or anything like that. It's just basically camping, hiking, canoeing, kayaking. They cater to those guys. And there goes a skink. I was able to get a Cairn box really cheap last year. They were running some kind of phenomenal deal where I got one for like 12 bucks. I have no idea how I pulled that one off. And I wish I could do that again. Because what I got for 12 bucks was a great deal. In fact, it was a great deal if it was $30. So when I got the Cairn box, I was already like 3, maybe 4 subscription boxes a month. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this right now. We'll save it for later. And lo and behold, a year later, I signed up for one of their boxes. I want to say the Trailhead box. It was pretty nice. I got a Cairn box exclusive backpack that I was able to use. I liked it, but the price went up to like, I want to say $35 or something like that. And I wasn't ready for that, mostly because we're not doing as much outdoor stuff as I'd like right now. Between my wife's injury and my shoulder, we're just not going to be out there. So here's Little Boy, our resident alligator at Riverbank Zoo. I love this guy. There's something about reptiles. I'm not sure why I love them, but I do. So there's a bunch of other boxes out there that pretty much failed. The biggest one I can think of is like Hero Box. I heard something about them and they just died off. To bring it back to Nerd Block, they had a deal with the military forces, U.S. military forces, where you could get an Army box, a Navy box, Air Force, Marine box. I don't know if they were starting the Marine box, but and they called it Valor Box. It lasted, I want to say, maybe 3 months. ThinkGeek did a 3-box thing, and I think they stopped afterwards. Bandbox is still out there. There is a Comic-Con or a comic book box out there, and there's Bento Box, but I haven't seen anything on them in a while. I'm pretty sure Bento Box is still going. It's just I haven't seen any unboxers. But right now, this is like the rise and fall of the subscription box services. There is one other subscription service I should talk about, and I absolutely love their stuff, and I was sad to see that they were stopping it, and that is the Burgabox. If you didn't know, Burgabox was a monthly or a one-time subscription service from the Boston Burger Company, and for $40 to $60, depending on what kind of coupon you could get for them, you would get these 2 huge patties, all sorts of fixins, 2 sides, and anything else they wanted to add in there sent to your house. And yes, you had to cook your burgers, but that food was phenomenal. I even did 2 videos on me cooking the stuff. They pretty much would overnight it. I was pretty lucky that I fell under the free shipping zone because they're based off the East Coast, and we're in the state that's furthest south to be considered a part of the East Coast, according to the post office. So that saved us a lot of money. If it wasn't for the free shipping, I never would have gotten the box, but I'm so glad I did. So with the Burgabox, they had a pretty funny ad campaign going on. I don't think many people watched the videos. They should have, because they would, besides telling you what happened last month, they would actually give you a preview of what would be going on this month. Let's go ahead and move forward. So for like the second half of last year, Burgabox offered free shipping across the entire United States. Well, the lower 48 states. So Alaska and Hawaii, you're out of luck, just like you normally are. And I think that helped them get more publicity. But on the other hand, considering how much it costs to ship across the United States, like overnight with ice bags, or I guess 2-day shipping with ice bags, I don't think that was sustainable for like an extended period of time. And I really wish the Boston Burger Company got more publicity, because that was some phenomenal food. And now we're seeing stuff like Blue Apron, Home Chef, and others like come up and offer food choices, but it's not as great as what the Boston Burger Company offered. And I really miss my burger box. There's our lions behind us. You see one male, one female. We actually have 2 females, and one of them gave birth to like 4 cubs, and they're still in the back nursing and everything. But I'm glad to see that Zuri the male is out, because he hasn't been out at all until, I want to say, yesterday. So with the subscription boxes going up and down, a lot of them closing and ending their subscription services, it felt like it was about time to just stop doing unboxings when it came to them. I'm really sad to see that the Comic-Con box ended. That Geek Fuel is going to a quarterly subscription, and Funko just pretty much dropped their stuff to work with a brick and mortar store, because you know they are pulling in a lot of money. They could keep going with the subscription service. I think one of the problems with Funko is they could have advertised more on social media. They could have promoted some of the YouTubers who are doing stuff, because there are some good YouTube unboxers out there. They go all out. I was just a run-of-the-mill guy, a real small potatoes dude. But yeah, I will continue to do unboxings. It's just going to be for special occasions, and if I get something that's like really out of the ordinary. And I guess for now I'll focus on running and outdoor stuff until then. All right, so let me know what you guys thought of your subscription boxes, if you got them, and let me know what else is going on with that stuff, because I'm pretty sure I missed something. But if you like my videos, go ahead, comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And until next time, catch you later. And visit the zoo. Visit our zoo, please. Bye.